This is the solution video for section 1.2, problems 31 through 36. All right, so first of all, when we look at this, we have to realize that in all of these situations, or most of these situations, we have a function within a function, right? So here I have the g of x inside of f. So remember, we're going to take the f outside, and we're going to evaluate f of the limit as x approaches 1 of g of x. All right, so limit as x approaches 1 of g. So g is this graph here on the left. And so what is the limit as x approaches 1 of g? Well, the limit as x approaches 1 of g is 0, right? And so that means I'm simply evaluating f of 0, right? So f of 0 is -2. All right. All right, the next one. So I'm going to write down here limit as x approaches 0. Remember, we're going to take the f out. So it's going to become f of the limit as x approaches 0 of x plus 1, right? So limit as x approaches 0 of x plus 1, right? So all we do is plug 0 in. So we get 0 plus 1. So we get f of 1, right? So what is f of 1? So look over here, f of 1, there is a closed circle there. It is very simply 1, right? And so we want to make sure we understand that that is not like evaluating this limit, right? It's just 1. All right. So now 33, we want to evaluate the limit as x approaches 1 of g of x divided by the limit as x approaches 1 of f of x, right? And so we're going to evaluate those separately, right? And so when we do that, we get the limit as x approaches 1 of g. Well, that's just, that's 0, right? We just figured that out. But the limit as x approaches 1 of f, right? That does not exist, right? And so this limit, we would say, does not exist. All right. Next, okay, we have g of x, which is inside of a square root. And so we're going to take the square root out and evaluate the limit as x approaches 1. Sorry, limit as x approaches 3 of g of x. All right, so go to the graph of g. What is the limit as x approaches 3 of g of x? That is 4. And so we get the square root of 4, which is, of course, 2. All right. 35. All right, we're going to take the cube out. So really, we're going to evaluate the limit as x approaches 0 of f of x, right? And then we're going to cube whatever that result happens to be. So what is the limit as x approaches 0 of f? So we go to f, limit as x approaches 0 is -2. And so then we're going to cube -2. So of course, then we get -8. All right, and lastly, we're going to take the g out, and so we're evaluating g of the limit as x approaches -1 of x plus 2. All right, and so we put that in, -1 plus 2 is 1, so g of 1, right? So g of 1, so we look at, go back here, g of 1 is 0. All right, and so that is problems 30,